I'm Lynn.
I'm Amanda. And this is the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast.
We're cutting through the fluff and cracking open what it really takes to build a business and life that you actually want.
No gurus, no gatekeeping, just real talk, big action, and the badass energy you need to scale and slay.
Some episodes, it's just us.
And sometimes we bring on powerful guests with stories that'll hit home.
Either way, this is not about playing small.
It's about going all in.
Let's get after it. Hey, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda. Welcome to the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast. Today we're talking about discipline versus motivation. What's the difference and what's going to get you there?
Yes, there's so much around this that we can cover, but we'll try to keep it concise because we're trying to be a bit more mindful about the lengths of our podcast. So this won't be an hour podcast, but here's the thing. Discipline is about making the action happen. Motivation is the idea of, right? The energy behind it. Sometimes we have to do the things without having the motivation or having the motivation or inspiration at the time. And so this is really what that podcast is about. It's about showing up, doing the thing, even when that motivation isn't there, even when you're lacking inspiration. I saw a phrase that inspiration has ghosted you. So this is about like doing the damn thing in order to make that movement happen, moving that marker.
Absolutely. Motivation is very emotionally driven. It is out of desperation. It's out of a feeling. It's, oh, I have to look good in a dress next week, so I should go to the gym this weekend. It's an emotion, but creating that long-term change, that discipline is setting up the habits and putting in the action to get yourself there. So, think of motivation as like the match. Like you need the match. It starts the fire. It's great. Keeps you up real quick, but then it fizzles out really quickly. So if you don't have the kindling set up, you're going to have a really crap campfire. So that discipline is going through the motions of actually putting in the work. I mean, you think about, I always bring it back to a fitness perspective, but motivation gets you to the gym once. Discipline gets you there 3 times a week, every week for years, and actually makes you put in the work. Even when you're bored, even when you're tired, even when you're coming off a cold, those are the things that are going to get you there. That's discipline. Motivation is just, like I said, it's a feeling, it's an emotion, and it's not going to get you the results that you need because we need actions, not emotions.
I love the fitness one because I recently started going pretty consistently to a big gym here. Usually I work out solo, and I remembered this, but I see it more so because this is like a big box gym, and I've never really been a big box gym person. It's always been whatever, but there's also shades of discipline. So I see all of these people showing up, and I've had to call myself out on this when I was CrossFitting all the time and different things. Like I would only have so much discipline to push myself so far for different reasons. But when you were talking about, I was just thinking of the shades of this discipline, because you'll have people show up to a grid class and they're half-assing it and they're just kind of like going through the motions, but at least they're there, right? Versus those that are taking it seriously and like really pushing themselves. So that's the individualized discipline journey. But I think you made some really good point. Discipline is the consistency. I think that is a key word, that consistency of always doing it, even when you don't feel like doing it. It could be a bigger why. It could be a bigger, yes, you want to fit into that dress and look amazing or whatever that is, but it's that consistency. It's also the self-leadership and self-auditing, like calling yourself out, making sure that you are staying on point and that you are taking the initiative, because nobody else is going to do it for you. And I love the gym. We're both athletes. We love that.
And it's a very easy, relatable thing to say. The difference between motivation and discipline. There are times you don't want to do stuff. There are so many times I have zero desire to do things. And a lot of times I just choose not to, because then I'll blame it on my introverted side. Oh, I'm just depleted. But sometimes I just lack the discipline to get it done. And that's okay, as long as you understand that that's what's happening, versus just, I don't have the motivation and it's not working for me, because again, it's creating this system of like being a martyr and the scapegoating for everything else. Like it's everybody else's fault that it's not getting done. No, it is your fault. And you can create that discipline. You can create the systems, and there are ways to do it. So some of the things that when it comes to creating discipline, one of the biggest things is to take out decision fatigue. It's a really easy, and we'll use this analogy again. You wake up at 6 a.m. and it's suddenly like, oh, I don't know what to wear. But if you set out the clothes the night before, that takes away the decision fatigue. It's one less obstacle to get you over that motivation, because nobody's motivated at 4 a.m.
Most people.
I mean, at least not initially, or you're motivated initially. And then when you have to do it the second week, you're like, oh crap, this really does suck. I really do hate this. I shouldn't have had that bottle of wine last night. I want to sleep in. So you have to choose what your purpose is. What's your why? What's your motivation? Like again, the motivation will start it, but it's not going to keep the fire going. So if you can take out some of that decision fatigue, that will help you get over cover the emotional side of why you drop your habits. Creating long-term habits. And we're big Atomic Habit fans. If you haven't read the book, you should
love the book.
If you haven't read it by now, we've
awesome.
probably talked about it 1,000 times. If you haven't read it yet, here's your sign. Read it. It really does help you set up those habits that you want to have. Because again, motivation is fleeting, little jerk face. It's never around when you really need it to be, but the discipline is always there if you let it be there.
Yes, so many points there. But I do want to point out that your micro and macro, but your micro, especially choices, actions, or inactions, or lack of making a choice, which is a choice, is absolutely creating the habit for you that's either going to propel you or hinder you. So I think it's really important to recognize, like, I'll sleep in just today, or I'll hit the snooze bar just one more time. Like, all of those little things are creating habits that aren't progressing you, that aren't actually feeding the discipline, creating that accomplishment. Because listen, at the end of the year, at the time you're going to put on that damn dress, at whatever end point that it is, and you're not where you want to be, fingers pointing back at yourself. Did you have enough discipline to actually make that shit happen? And 99.9% of the time, it's a no. And it happens. It happens. Also, you talked about it in habit wise, but rituals I think are really important that can help create that discipline, like setting out the clothes prior. I've been doing that only because we had an earthquake though, because if I have to jump up and put on clothes, I'm putting on my workout clothes. But no, I do that a lot as well, especially when I have a late night. I make sure that everything's packed the night before. Ritual could be the way you set yourself up or decompress. And I know we're talking about workout, so let's switch it to business. Discipline in business. We've talked a lot about, like, there are lots of things in business that we don't want to do, but it's part of us having a business, like sales, like accounting, like customer service or customer relations sometimes, especially when there's an issue. Mm-hmm. And actually, I just had a win this week. Like, I am not typically a techie person. And, Amanda is definitely more that side. But also, our team does a lot of the tech work. And I was asked to speak on this panel, and I needed to create a freebie, which is not a big deal. I'm a creator. Like, I have all of these creations, but then it was putting it into my kit, my convert kit. And I did it. I created my own landing page. I created my own email sequence. I attached the thing to the thing and all that. And I was so proud that I had the discipline. First of all, I didn't play lazy. I didn't make excuses. I didn't even pawn it off our team, which I could have. That's what they're there for. But I wanted to show myself differently, and I had the discipline to make it work. I set aside the time to make that work. I also think of, like, us writing the book. Like, we have different disciplines in writing the book. Mine was, I needed to go away, create space where I'm doing nothing else. This is my ritual and my habit, and the discipline to actually go and write the book. So I would go to for our second book, the same vegan restaurant and write a chapter or 2 chapters, depending on the day. I would make sure that I'm there for X amount of time, and I would not stop until I hit that goal. That's discipline. That's discipline.
Absolutely. And, it's hard to do discipline when you are starting out, because there are already habits you've already created that are telling you not to do something. And I think it's important that we really note that you need to set yourself up to have discipline. I'll give an example. It could be life related, work related. But a lot of people say, okay, the 5 a.m. club, like wake up at 5 a.m. But if based on your schedule that you aren't going to go to bed until midnight or 1 a.m. just because everybody else is telling you the 5 a.m. club is the way to get your discipline, everything, get it done, it may not work for you. And by setting yourself up with that false expectation that you're going to be part of the 5 a.m. club, when you know that your schedule needs to have more of an 8 a.m. club, that's okay. And you have to set yourself up for that habit. Not everybody can be an early riser. Not everybody can stay up super late to get it done. We all have the same 24 hours in the day, but we don't always all have the same activities and responsibilities and roles in that 24 hours. So set yourself up for success when you're trying to create new habits and new forms of discipline, because look at your schedule, look at your calendar. What can you actually do? In the olden days, if I wanted to work out, it had to be before I started my workday. I didn't have a kid then, so I could wake up at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning and do my own thing. But now, because I might not get any of my good work done until midnight, I can't wake up at 4 a.m. and be as productive and work out, because my nanny's not going to come at 4 a.m. No, I don't know what I'd have to pay her to show up at 4 a.m., but it's not going to happen. So I can't work out when my kid's in the room and get what I need out of it. Just so now my workouts are like 2 p.m. Got the nanny there. I've gotten most of my work done, all the things. I still have a relative amount of energy and I'm not super hungry yet. So I had to change the way my habits formed, and then my discipline had to shift based on my schedule. So look at your calendar. Where can you fit it in, and actually put it on your calendar? You're much more likely to follow through with it if it's on your calendar as an actual task. So this could be some of the things that you hate doing in your job. So if you don't like doing your financial books, put it on the calendar as an appointment. Okay, on Monday morning at 8 a.m. every week, I'm going to do 30 minutes of my books. I'm going to balance my checkbook. People still balance checkbooks. You probably don't balance checkbooks. Do people use checkbooks anymore? Anyway, balance your books. Look where the money is going. See what's happening. If there's social media you need to do, if there's content you need to create, you can put it on your schedule and make that a habit. But again, make it at a time that you know you can do. Don't join the 5 a.m. club if you are a night owl and you have to be because of your work schedule and because of your family life. Don't set yourself up for failure, because we all have the motivation. Like, sure, I can wake up at 4 a.m. and I can be that mom who has no excuses, that wakes up at 4 a.m. and does her own workout. And then the kids get to school at 8. Like, if they're homeschooled, if they're toddlers, if they don't go anywhere yet, if you have a late night, if that's how your schedule works, like, be honest with how your life really works. And then set your routines and your discipline, your habits around your life. Don't change your life unrealistically.
I love that. I think it's an individualized journey, definitely.
Yeah.
And a seasonal individualized journey.
100%.
So depending on what season of life you're in or what season of business you're in, even like with business, like if you are in growth mode, there are certain sacrifices and disciplines that need to happen now in order for you to get to that particular accomplishment, right? And so we often talk about we have to sacrifice things today in order to get where we want to be tomorrow. And that is the discipline, actually going through with the sacrifice, not saying, watching one movie today or watching another show today instead of doing what I need to do here, or eating that large order of French fries and then like getting back to my diet tomorrow, whatever. Like, it compounds sometimes into a way where it's not going to get you as far. I think of Will Smith has been outspoken about it. A lot of athletes like LeBron, I think it was Michael Jordan too, like they would show up before everybody else for practice, and then they would be some of the last to leave after practice. They would stay and practice and practice. And actually, I remember even my own journey. I loved basketball and I was good at it, but I could draw a foul like nobody else. I had great hops. I was great at defense, but I could not shoot a free throw for the life of me. I remember like my coach like pulling me aside and say, listen, like, you're not going to hit those free throws unless you come outside of practice and you're practicing outside of. And I was like, okay, do I actually want to add more value to the team? Because it's like one thing that I'm great at defense and I can draw those fouls, but what good is it if I can't make the free throws? So I would go in early, I would practice outside of practice. Sometimes I'd stay later if I could. And I got down. I mean, I wasn't the best at them, but I got consistent and I got better and I got better and better and better. And so it's like, I had to have that discipline outside of the structure that was created for me, because I wanted to improve, because I wanted to be better, because I wanted to show up differently. And so Will Smith talks about like, when everybody else is eating, I'm working. When everybody else is doing this, I'm working, right? So it's that work ethic, it's that discipline, because he knew that, and lots of people knew that work ethic and drive and discipline will outweigh talent all day, every day. Because if you're not honing that, if you're not practicing, if you're not having discipline, that talent can go away, or that you can supersede that talent for sure.
Absolutely. And we don't want to say that you should neglect your self-care and your personal health. This isn't about like, I'm going to work even when I have the flu and I'm going to go to that meeting even when I'm vomiting. Like, we're not saying, like, nobody wants you at that meeting, first of all.
No.
It's not sacrificing your mental and physical health in order to be disciplined. That's not what we're saying here. However, if it's within your capabilities, somebody, you want to watch a movie, no one's going to be mad at you for one time watching a movie. And are you making up those hours? It's a choice that you make, but the discipline, it shouldn't come at the sacrifice of your personal health, but it still needs to be there. And if you really have goals that you're trying to meet, if you really have big dreams, big things that are moving and shaking, you're going to need discipline to get there, because motivation is a fleeting little jerk mistress. She come in all shiny and happy and make you happy one time. And then she goes, she just disappears. She's the ruthless, really. But discipline will get you going
does.
that extra. She is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But discipline's going to get you that extra mile.
I love that you brought that up. And I think that that's really important. And what I would like to add to that is if you are watching that movie, for example, it's because we use that. And actually, I know I've talked about this, like that one cooking show turned into cajillion cooking shows. And the thing is I needed it because I was pushing myself. And then I had to learn to not beat myself up and to like actually honor that break. And that is also part of discipline. Like it is like depositing into yourself because I needed that brain relaxation time, like that, not thinking, not doing. So I love that you brought that up. Listen, discipline, work ethic is absolutely greater than motivation. You need this in order to move that marker, to hit those accomplishments that you want to accomplish, to improve, to grow, to scale, to even sustain, because we feel like if you're not being disciplined and you're not growing, that you're actually declining, especially in this market nowadays. Like things move so quickly. So quickly. So where can you put more discipline in your life? Where can you call yourself out more and add maybe some rituals, create better habits, create a better mindset around having that discipline? Because the only person that is responsible for your life is you.
Do you think the discipline has a negative connotation? I think it does. I think a lot of people feel like it's this horrible thing, like, oh, I have to be disciplined because what it is that I'm doing, I don't want to do.
I think like,
but that's not it.
I would agree, but I also feel like people, what we were talking about earlier is like that pendulum swings all the way the other way. And it doesn't have to be, it's like one more step of discipline. And I have a friend up north and he probably has zero body fat. Like it's ridiculous. And he has a discipline that eats almost the same meals all the time because he knows it works for his body. And every once in a while he might do this or might do that, but he's disciplined because he likes his body looking a certain way. He also likes the way it makes him feel. It's a very personalized journey. And so we're not saying like be super disciplined like that, because I think when people think of discipline, they're like, I have to take all the fun out of it. I have to be all work.
Well, yeah, it's like, they think of it as like, you have to be disciplined because you hate the thing. Like, no, it's not that you hate it. And that's why you have to be disciplined. In fact, the things that I like to be the most disciplined are the things that I love the most. Like for me, I'm disciplined about reading things that aren't business related because I can get so like, I'm going to read 50 books on business development and forget that I'm a whole other person. I can be more than one thing. And so I'm disciplined that I make sure every night I read something that isn't business related so that I can regroup and give my brain something else to focus on rather than constantly being in work mode. So I have to be disciplined to do something I love because otherwise I'll just keep working until I pass out, or I'll do something else that maybe isn't as healthy or that I didn't really want to do in the first place. So discipline isn't doing things that you forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. It's helping you get through those times where you don't have the motivation to do what needs to be done, even if it's something that's positive, like self-care.
I love working out.
Yeah,
I actually do. I love working out and I would prefer to do it in the morning, but sometimes I have to have that discipline to actually get out of bed because there are many times where I'd rather just like hit the snooze and go back to bed because I didn't sleep so well or because whatever, but I always feel better afterwards. I'll never forget like my true CrossFit days where we'd show up and like not a lot of us had smiles on our faces, but we felt so energized afterwards. And it was having that discipline to just show up. Right?
Yeah. And even if you show up and half-assed a little bit, at least you showed up.
Yeah, agreed. So where can you use more discipline and how do you view discipline? We'd love to hear, like, I love that you brought that up. How do you view discipline and is it helping you or hindering you? And where can you add a little bit more discipline in your business and in your life?
Make sure you are liking, subscribing, all the things. Check us out on YouTube to see our shiny faces or reach out on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen.
Absolutely. Till next time.
Get after it.
Thanks for tuning in. But remember, listening is not doing.
Take what you heard today and move.
Share the episode, leave us a review, and tag us when you take action.
Head over to the pursuitofbadasserie.com and see how we're helping entrepreneurs get results without the fluff.
Until next time,
let's get after it.